Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into an absolutely fascinating master plan that manages to connect two completely different worlds. We are talking about bridging the microscopic, gritty health of agricultural soil straight to the cutting-edge, fast-paced realm of global digital finance. It's a wild ride, so let's get right into it.
Okay, let's dive into this. How exactly do you take leftover, everyday farm waste and literally turn it into a globally traded digital asset? I know, it sounds a bit like modern-day alchemy, right? Like spinning straw into gold. But as you'll see when we look at the immense scale of the project we're analyzing today, there's absolutely no magic involved. It's a meticulously planned, highly scalable master plan that completely rethinks how agriculture and finance interact.
So here's our agenda for today. And you'll notice the source material brilliantly organizes its complex strategy using the traditional heaven, earth, human philosophical framework. We'll start with 1. Cuong regenerative agriculture. 2. Heaven, which is smokeless technology. 3. Earth, focusing on soil regeneration. 4. Human, the cooperative ecosystem. 5. Digitizing real-world assets. And finally 6. Reaching the international market.
Section 1. Cuong regenerative agriculture.
To really wrap our heads around this massive 5,000-hectare project in the Cuong Tea region, we have to grasp its core thesis. It's all about moving away from that old, linear mindset of produce first and then, figure out how to treat the waste later. Instead, they're adopting a totally new paradigm where waste is actually the raw material for the next process. The entire economic model hinges on this fundamental shift. It's about designing a system where literally nothing is truly discarded.
Moving on to Section 2. Tian, or heaven, smokeless technology. The starting point here is the implementation of these ATM smokeless stoves in factories. But, as our research reveals, this isn't just about cleaning up the air. It's an active technology designed to capture farm biomass, that farm waste we just talked about, and intentionally repurpose it. Basically, it's the first physical mechanism that takes that waste as a raw material mindset and actually makes it possible on the ground.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how, through these smokeless kilns, that agricultural biomass is converted into something called biochar. Around here, they call it the black diamond of farming. It is not just some byproduct, it's a strategic asset. It improves the soil structure, drastically increases water and nutrient retention, and actively circulates carbon. It literally transforms waste into a highly valuable, commercializable asset that solves environmental problems while at the same time generating brand new revenue streams.
Which brings us to Section 3, Dia, or Earth, soil regeneration. You see, the old way of farming is a bit like a sugar rush. You're just dumping fertilizer on the ground to chase a higher yield, purely focusing on the number of kilograms you can harvest right now. But this new approach, it's all about long-term health. It's regenerating the soil ecosystem with that biochar combined with Mterra solutions. The goal here is incredibly holistic. They aren't just trying to grow more tea. They want cleaner tea, completely free of inappropriate chemicals, vastly healthier soil, and ultimately, wealthier farmers who capture far more value per hectare.
And this brilliantly illustrates a perfectly closed physical loop of circular agriculture happening right there on the ground in Cuong. Think of it like a giant puzzle coming together. We start with the soil, which grows the tea plant. The harvest then creates agricultural byproducts. Those byproducts go straight into the smokeless kilns for biochar production. That biochar, along with other organic matter, becomes organic fertilizer, which is then returned directly to the soil. It is just a beautiful, self-sustaining cycle.
Let's look at Section 4, Nian, or human, cooperative ecosystem.
As you can see, this heaven, earth, human framework actually maps directly to a larger corporate ecosystem. It's pretty clever. Kenai handles the heaven layer, providing those smokeless kilns and the biomass conversion tech. Sky Gold manages the earth layer, taking care of the biochar and soil regeneration solutions. And Novita represents the human layer, managing the market side with offtake contracts, finance, and global exports. It's a highly structured, synergistic partnership.
But hey, this ecosystem isn't just top-down. The farmers and the 10 local cooperatives, or HTXs, which serve as localized collectives, they are the central economic nodes of this entire model, and they're all integrated via a digital infrastructure called SSA. This platform manages the whole shebang, from individual farmers and cultivation processes to the harvest and strict traceability. It's this specific digital layer that officially transforms raw physical tea into a highly authenticable economic asset.
Section 5, digitizing real-world assets, or RWA. So the crucial point is how this physical farm connects to blockchain tokens. The strategy involves digital tokens linked to the three companies we discussed: NVT for Novita, KNI for Kanai, and GOD for Skygold. But tokenizing T means absolutely nothing on its own. Think of these tokens like digital deeds. They derive their value solely because they represent digitized, fully verified rights to the physical 5,000 hectares of land, the actual T output, the warehouse inventory, and the real export contracts backing them.
To govern this proposed 7,750 billion RWA token ecosystem, there are 5 non-negotiable pillars. Ready? Real assets, real transactions, real cash flow, real traceability, and real legality. Without all 5 of these firmly rooted in the physical agricultural operations backing them up, these digital tokens would just be useless lines of code. Section 6. Reaching the international market.
By designating Novita Trust in Hong Kong as the international gateway, this project is doing far more than just finding a one-off buyer for some tea. They're establishing a global export hub, a hub that's capable of standardizing the product, validating all that crucial traceability data, and actively interfacing with international financial markets.
Because when they finally reach that international market, they aren't just selling raw agricultural materials anymore. No way. They are monetizing 3 distinct layers of value to international buyers. First, you've got the physical product, that high-quality, cleanly grown Tonkern tea. Second, the brand, the authentic, rich origin story of the region. And third, the intellectual property, the verifiable traceability data, and the entire regenerative agricultural model that sits right behind the product.
Let's move to and see how this builds, because the real genius of this master plan isn't just making one single farm profitable, it's the massive scalability. The roadmap expands from a single cooperative out to 10, then to the entire 5,000 hectares of Tun Cuong, spreading across the Thanh Nguyen province, and eventually acting as a blueprint for entirely new agricultural regions. It is a system designed from the ground up for massive, verifiable replication.
I want to leave you with a quote from the source that perfectly sums this whole thing up. They are not just cleaning a tea region, but building a regenerative economic model, elevating the value of land, people, and brand into a chain of assets that can be authenticated, commercialized, and replicated. It's incredibly ambitious, and it leaves us with a massive question. If this tokenized framework can revolutionize tea fields in Vietnam, what other traditional global industries are waiting to be completely transformed by this exact same circular, tokenized blueprint? Thanks for exploring this with us today.